Welcome back, everyone. We are live again. It is Monday.
We are Sasha and the cat.
We had to do a quick sound check, so sorry for the slight delay.
But yes, we are here today. Super excited. Welcome to our Level Up podcast. Today we have like a different kind of show.
Yes, that we're very excited about. It's our first live business feature. So this is a small business owner that specializes in jewelry design, specifically clay. And we'll bring her on in just a minute to say a little more about that. But if you guys have any questions at any point, you can definitely put them in the chat. We'll either incorporate them into our talk and then answer them from there, or we will address them at the end.
Yeah, definitely love having all of you here. And we are so excited to have Claudia on today. And you know, it's been a crazy week. So I would think last week was pretty crazy for me. So I'm really excited for today because it's something different. And
Yeah.
I hope that I feel like I always learn something from having another human on the show. Like I feel like I learn from Sasha even every week. And I'm like, I always talk to her anyway. So it's definitely going to be super fun. I've been watching Claudia shop for some time, and actually before COVID, I mean, not before COVID, sorry, last summer, sometime I was going to buy Sasha her earrings for her birthday or Christmas or something, and because I thought they were so cute, but yay. All right.
So, we have someone.
Let's let her. You want to let her in?
She actually is not in yet. I messaged her.
It's called arriving fashionably late.
And that matches her, actually.
So anyway, well, I guess while we're waiting, I went to Miami last week, which Claudia is actually in Miami. So
Is she from Miami, like born and raised?
that's a great question to ask her.
Well, why don't you at least say how you guys met?
So I actually met Claudia a few years ago, and I was living near a restaurant that she was working at, and my friend also worked at that restaurant, and then my friend knew her from a previous job. So I didn't know her in terms of the shop. Well, she didn't have the shop at the time, but when I started following her adventures, I was like, oh, this girl's got something going here. Something going. That was about it. But then I also thought, I was like, wow, she would be a perfect person to have here because I feel like she is a mix of Sasha and me.
I agree with that. And I haven't met her in person, but I did go through her Instagram and look at her IG lives and stuff, and she is super funny. Like, just super comical and really passionate. You could tell she's a true artist. And here she is.
Oh, yay! Pero what?
Hey, there she is. All right.
And then I think if you flip it, it should.
Again? Oh my God. Okay,
Why
hold
does it
on.
always do that?
Jesus.
We
We're
had a
gonna figure
practice
this out,
run
girls.
team.
I know that we're gonna think. I don't know what they're gonna think. Okay,
We're
okay.
millennials.
let's see. We got it. Hey, guys. So we're live, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome to
I
Level Up.
totally know what I'm doing. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is very exciting.
Yeah, we just briefly told everyone how Kat knows you and how awesome you are. So
Oh,
it
thank
was
you.
perfect timing. Perfect timing.
There you go. And that's what you always do. You butter up the guest. You know what I mean? I like that. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and your shop and
About all things Noni Clay.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, when did you start it? What made you start it?
So I started Noni Clay Design in September of 2020 at like kind of mid pandemic. Before that, I spent the entire summer practicing.
Mm.
A little bit more of a background on me is I did like 16 years in hospitality. I started out when I was in high school. I went from being a hostess to a server to a bartender to catering, all the way up to manager. And I think that once you hit like that, like wherever you can, like the top part of whatever you can do, you think that you've made it. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
And especially in the restaurant business, I never really wanted to get to that part. I always thought it was going to be just intuitive to like my nomadic lifestyle. You know what I mean? Kind of like
Adventure.
exactly, because there's always going to be a restaurant wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, you can like throw a rock and there's going to be a restaurant outside your window that you
Yeah.
can probably get a job at. And I always thought, like, I don't know if you guys, I'm gonna age myself right now, but there's a movie called Cocktail with like Tom Cruise, where he is a bartender in like Jamaica. And I always thought that I was like, awesome, you know what I mean? Like you live your
Yeah.
life, you do whatever you want, and then you can like make a little money on the side. So
Hmm.
that's where the base started. That's what I thought I was going to do.
That's
And
awesome.
then yeah, but then like there was a part of me that has like a very strong work ethic. My dad was somebody that like always instilled something in me that whatever you do, wherever you go, be the best at.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be a doctor, be the best doctor. If you're going to be an actress, be the best actress. If you're going to, be a janitor, girl, you clean those toilets
Yeah.
the best that you could possibly clean those toilets, because it's one of those things you're getting paid to do something.
Yeah.
So I did all that. I was on that path. And even though like a part of me always wanted to be like, this isn't it. Like nobody goes into restaurants thinking like I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
No, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like you
This
always feel
is
like
my
the day is gonna,
calling.
yeah, like oh my God, like I love getting you that side of ranch. You know what I mean? Like no, it's not it. You know what I mean? So unless you want to own a restaurant, the highest level that you can
Yeah.
get to is management. And I got there and it was absolutely miserable. I loved having like a team. I loved, like the dream, but at the end of the day, if it's not your dream, then
Hmm.
all you're doing is building someone else's dream.
Mhm.
And there is a level of like selling your soul to the devil that comes with that, because then your time isn't yours anymore. And all you're doing is like the motions.
Yeah.
So I got to that point. I've been very transparent in that I have issues with anxiety and things like that. And I think mostly it was the environment that I was in. But what I was doing, the environment I was in, it wasn't in line with my mental stability
Hmm.
or my general happiness.
Mhm.
And at the start of the pandemic and becoming what people were calling like an essential worker, like I was just working at a restaurant. There was nothing
Right.
in my brain that made me feel like I was essential. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
because of that, I was like, I was doing something that I wasn't happy doing. I was kind of scared to be out and about and just putting myself into a situation where I felt like people didn't care about me. You know what I mean? They just needed a body there.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they didn't care what happened to that body or what was happening to that mind that's connected to that body. I was just, physically there, but not mentally. So it reached a point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like I can't do this anymore. And there's a lot of like fear in that, because if you can't do that anymore,
What do you
well,
do?
what the hell do you
Right.
do? You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? So instead I kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I'm going to bank on me. I'm going to see what the dream is and run towards it, because I've been sleeping on the dream. And I found that I always knew that there was like an artist in me.
Yeah.
I think it's very easy to also say though that if it doesn't come naturally to you, that you're not going to be good at it.
Right.
So there is like, I can't draw, so I can't be an illustrator. I can't paint because it doesn't come, like the pen to paper doesn't come naturally to me. I can't sing because God gave me the type of voice that makes cats cry outside. You know what I mean? But there are things that you can do. I mean, everything comes with practice.
Yeah.
Everything comes with just having an interest in it and then putting that interest into practice. And then if you fall in love with it, which I was lucky enough to do with clay, I decided, well, this is it, like this is what I want to do.
How did you even
So
find clay? Like you were like, oh, I'm just gonna choose clay, like as opposed
yeah,
to other earrings or.
yeah. Well, I grew up going to like Chile. My family's from Chile in the summertime. And there's these things called Feria de Artesanía, which translated is just like an artisan fair. And they're everywhere. And I always thought they were so cool because you could actually see these people like making the things in front of you and then selling them. And to me, it was such like, like I was in awe and I loved it. And I kind of started with a collection of earrings because I worked in restaurants. I've been kind of like trapped into uniforms and like ugly uniforms. I worked in a Mexican restaurant where I had to wear like neon green polyester. I've worked in Caribbean restaurants where it's like Tommy Bahama. I've worked at like Italian restaurants where it's a tie, but it's always things that like are so not you that kind of trap you. And you only have about like this up to do anything creative. You know what
Earrings,
I mean? Earrings,
yes.
dude, earrings. So I always used earrings as a form of like expressing myself. And I kind of fell into, so polymer clay earrings is like a very specific kind of earring. And I fell in love with it just by buying it. And I remember Pat and I have a mutual friend, Anna. I would talk to Anna and I would be like, girl, I gotta go home because my boyfriend can't see that I just ordered another pair of earrings. Like that package gotta go inside and hidden because if I bring another pair of earrings home, he's gonna break up with my ass. And I had to, it was like an obsession. And I just grew like this large collection of it. And I would always wear it. And people would ask me, like, did you make those earrings? And I would always be like, no. And I love supporting other small businesses. So I was always quick to be like, no, this is the Instagram, this is this or whatever. But then it was like a light bulb moment where I was just like, well, why am I not making my earrings? You know what I mean? Like how hard is it to make earrings? And that's kind of where it started into like the realm of a hobby. And I and in my mind, like I said, like I felt like I was an artist that hadn't found its medium for like whatever reason, clay made sense to me.
Wow.
Like it was just one of those things where like it organically started coming about. I was just like, oh, and it's kind of tough finding your artistic eye because you're so influenced by the things that you like. And there's like a fine line in like copying another artist.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you know what I mean?
And so being inspired by other artists.
And being inspired by other artists. Exactly. Because there's a difference between, let's say, a trend or a method than the actual like style.
Right.
Because nobody, you know what I mean? Nobody invented cow print. Like you can't be like, I invented cow print. No, a cow invented cow print. They were born with it. You know what I mean? And it's a trend. Right. But it's like how your eye and how your hands translate cow print. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think what's cool about like jewelry design is it's the design part of it that I think most artists find themselves most involved with. And then like obviously the medium is what carries out that initial design or that initial creative
like the material. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like I like too that in your Instagram you show that it's like collections that you've made based on like certain themes or like yeah. So I feel like that also appeals to the fact that like this is an artist designing earrings. Like
yes, and it's all very thoughtful. Like there is a lot of thought that goes behind it. There's a lot of effort that goes behind it. I'm always trying to learn new methods. I'm like constantly on YouTube just trying to see like, and it all starts with like, wow, like how did they do that? And then you start out with that, you learn how to do it. And then it turns into how does Claudia do that? You know, like how does Noni clay like make this kind of thing?
Right.
Which is so much fun. Like, oof, go ahead.
I'm like, I feel like we're like girl fanning. We're like, oh my gosh, we have questions.
No. And I told you I talk fast. I'm like, there, you know.
No, I love it. I love it.
I'm Hispanic. Fast Sasha talks.
We do that, you know. Yeah, well, we do that. We just kind of like, yeah. So go.
Well, first, can you show us maybe a couple of your favorites? I know you're wearing some, but just so the folks have an idea of the style, because I think the design themselves are very like unique, familiar, meaning like I've seen it maybe in like a clothing thing, but I think they're so unique having them in an earring, and they're so like I don't know, this is so stupid, but it reminds me of that wall behind you that I know you also made. But it's such an earthy design
Yes.
almost. I love it.
But I like that it's broad too. Like you have so many different designs that can appeal to like so many different types of styles or types of people.
And once like the ball starts rolling, it's like Indiana Jones. Like I'm running with it until it like, you know, like pummels me because I can't like stop. And sometimes my collections are really big. And you start learning in the business side of it, like what's good and what's not. And sometimes you should limit the collection itself. Because you're like, I can do this and I can do that. And then
that is literally my life struggle. I want to come out with like all the kits. And I'm like, no, you can't do no.
Sometimes the thing is, that's how it is when you do like shows or what have you, or you do launches. These things are your babies. You know what I mean? Like I love them so much. I put so much heart and soul into them. And then the problem becomes that I'm doing too much and then they don't sell. Or let's say I have 20 styles, but only 10 of them made it. Like that people actually like, or what have you. And I'm like, well, what happened to that one? I love it. Why don't you like that? And it's all because it's oversaturated. That's what you learn in the business side of it. It's almost like when you go to Cheesecake Factory and they give you that Bible of a menu and they come to your table and they're like, are you ready? And I'm like, bitch, I'm on page 3. You know what I mean? Like
give me a Bible.
Give me like, it's one of those things where it's like less is more in that aspect, because then you can kind of just sell it a little bit better. But to answer the prior question, I do that too. Like I'll just go off. My style in previous collections have been very much like earth toned, very mother nature, very woman, body, like all those things, positivity. And like, I love all those things. This new collection is going to be more, I'm calling it like April showers, just because I'm like in love with like pastels and flowers and just like confetti. A lot of it's like confetti and like things like that. Just things that like you look at and make you feel something. Like they make you feel happy, or they make you feel nostalgic, or they make you feel something like that. That's what I like to do. So before, I mean, like I try not to keep a lot of my things because I try to sell them.
Right.
And
that would be ideal.
There's also, and this is like clay talk, there is a clay shortage. So sometimes if I've made something, I've made it, and if I sold it, I don't try to remake it too much, just because clay is such a thing that I can't get a hold of as much as I want to. So I try not to, you know, unless people want it. But like previous collections were like things like, I don't know if you could see.
I love that.
Yes, it's like the woman body. It's just my mom hates it, by the way. She's like, but you know what I mean? And she's just like, it's boobs. And I'm like, well, boobs are beautiful,
that's
you know?
Classy boobs. It's not like Bourbon Street boobs. Girl.
Dude. And then my previous collection was really gravitated towards like the evil eye.
Oh, I saw those. Yeah.
Yes, I have a bunch of those.
I love the blues in that. They just look so good.
Like it's like a cobalt blue. I try now to like mix my own colors. Those are other things that you can do to like differentiate yourself from other clay artists, is making your own color palettes, mixing your own clay, color theory. There's a lot of things that you can learn with things like that. But I'm going to show you a few of the things that I have just in front of me that are coming to the new collection this Friday. Hey.
And I also wanted to mention too, what I saw on your Instagram is that these earrings are super lightweight, which I think is like a huge plus, because I feel like when I buy earrings, that's like the first thing. Once I like have them in my hand, or like I'm attracted to the design, my second thought is just, are these heavy?
Yes.
Because it makes such a big difference.
Oh, 100%. Especially if you're wearing them for a long period of time, like your ears only hold up so much. So when it comes to like things like metal or things that you can buy like at stores, like big chandelier earrings, the heavier the product is, the more it weighs you down. Polymer clay is extremely light.
Wow.
Lighter than plastic. You can wear them all day. Like I sometimes forget that they're even on. And I'm a big girl and I like big things. So my earrings are usually gravitate towards that. Like they're usually like they're statement pieces.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I'm trying, just because the consumer seems to gravitate more towards studs, I'm trying to kind of like do a little bit more of that. But I
do not like studs. I'm so against studs. Dude,
the bigger the better, I think.
I know. I like
we're such millennials.
I see
Yeah.
that it's like with your earrings, I feel like they're modern, they're minimal, and they cover such a wide range of styles. And I feel like it helps too to like accent the outfits you're wearing, which I feel like is another reason people wear earrings, is just to like put it all together. Like it's not complete without earrings.
I think it's like Chanel that said like, you know, like give yourself a look in the mirror before you leave and take something off. I'm like, girl, you put it on.
Yeah.
You put it all, just the bigger, the better, the more.
Or like, at least you better not be taking off the earrings.
Or don't take off the earrings. Yeah, if you're wearing just like a super simple outfit and then it's just like, oh, there's something missing, you put on a pair of earrings and then all of a sudden it's put all together, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, so right like in front of me, this was like strawberries from like the last little collection. And then in the new collection, I made them pink.
Oh my god.
So you have like a little bit like a variety. I just posted this on my Instagram. People really love them. They're like the little mini avocados.
Oh, those are cute.
Which came from big avocados. So something big usually comes from something small in my how my brain works. Like normally I have to like see it like big and then I'm like, okay, well maybe I can like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids it, you know? And then I have, so the next collection, like I said, it's going to be like a lot of like confetti. So this is like a little like funfetti. I suck at doing that.
That is cat.
Oh my god.
Yes. And then it also comes with like another top, like a flower top.
Oh my gosh.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, did you have more to show? It's
No.
about the confetti or just the detail.
Kat got lost in that one. She was
I feel like I've watched some of the videos of you making the.
Yes, I do a few of those, like tutorials.
Right, sorry. And then, well, first I think making your own color, I feel like is underrated here because I feel like you have a great eye even for choosing the color. Like, I mean, color is so hard to get right. And I'm sure you've mixed some and you're like, or like, ooh, you know.
100%. It's a lot of trial and error. And the thing is that people go to school for it, like things like color theory and color mixing and things like that, because my brain isn't like already like, and now it is more so now, but before, like, I didn't know, like everything was coming out brown and I could not understand why, you know what I mean? Because I was doing like blue with like red or like something. I'm like, what is this going to keep? And it was just like 50 shades of brown. I was like, what is happening here? So then that's when you have to like study. Whatever you do, you could always do it a different way. You know what I mean? Like you're going to start out doing it one way and then you're going to learn a different technique. And then you're just like, wow, like why didn't I think of that? And color theory is something that's like, it's very much a science. Like certain colors will mix together to make other colors. And yeah, when you're little and you're finger painting, it all makes sense. But when you're trying to like figure out how to do it in other ways, you do have to study a little bit of it. So that just comes with practice.
Right.
All of that comes with practice. And then sometimes I've made like one-off colors where I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. How the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
I'm like, this is the most beautiful shade of green, but it came from like scrap clay. And I'm just like, well,
limited edition
color, because you're never going to get those scrap, you know, because you select it. And then it's just, that's the other thing that's wonderful about clay. It's almost like zero waste. Clay in itself has plastic in it. So you just want to be very just in tune with the fact that you don't want to make anything go to waste, especially now that there's a clay shortage. So whatever you can do to like stretch out your product or the materials for what you're selling, you have to do. And clay is one of those things that's like very much zero waste. You could always just mix it. You can make it a marble color. Wow. You can do it and make it like one-off earrings, limited edition earrings, like you said, like any of those things. It's limitless when it comes to things like that. But you have to be like kind of like, you know what I mean? You have to be like, I don't want to waste this. What can I do with it? Right. So a lot of colors are like that. Like this is like I call it like Gucci inspired, but it is like almost like it's a swirl effect.
Cute.
And
I also love your freaking board that they go on. I don't know.
Thank you. And that's the whole other thing. Like, and that's a whole other conversation in becoming a small business owner, is that you're like, I made this, like I designed it, all of my packaging. That's kind of how you set yourself apart from everybody else. If you're going to do something professionally and you want to put your name behind it, then you have to be able to, you know what I mean? Do little things like that. Yeah. You don't want to just go to Amazon and be like earring cards and then have the same thing that everybody else has, you know?
So
and then what's cool about these is that they actually, hold on, so it's like behind the camera. Okay. They actually came from these. So I made these first, which are little
Oh.
eyes with like
I love
different, like,
those.
with like different tiers on them. And then this scrap clay, I made this design.
Right. That makes
Oh,
sense.
wow.
Because
Yeah.
it's all the different blues.
Shades of
And then
that.
I did like a marbling effect. And then from this, you get that, which is really cool, I think.
What would you
So
say
cool.
in terms of like creating the earrings? What would you say is the hardest part for you? Like even in terms of either designing it or even choosing a design, choosing a color,
I think
size of the earring.
yeah, the designing is something that you love to do, but it could also, because it is your job, creative blocks do happen, you know.
Yes.
Very, very, like, so easily. Like there are days where I'm like so inspired and I'm like chomping at the bit and I have like so many ideas. I'm one of those that like right before I go to sleep my brain is on fire.
Right.
And I'm just like, you know,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, okay, like no, and then I'm the worst at this. I'll be like, you know what, I'm gonna remember it tomorrow. I'm gonna remember, like, I don't write anything down. I'm like, no, like that's a great idea, I'll remember to do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'm like, what the hell was that idea?
I know, and then it's gone.
It's
like
gone.
I know I had it and I'm just like, oh, that was brilliant, like I gotta try that. So there is that, the creative block of things, because it is a business, you want to constantly be creating. And sometimes when you're constantly creating, it takes a little bit of the sparkle out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at that point you're trying to produce, and then you're just kind of like, oh, I don't love this, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I try to not do that so much, because then you're selling something that you're not proud of, or
Right.
you're trying to sell, you're pushing something that, and people can tell.
Right.
I think the biggest compliment that I've gotten throughout all of this is that people will tell me, like, it looks like you really love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
oh, wow. Yeah.
I never want to lose that.
Yeah.
The when I lose that, then I know that, like, maybe it's time to move on, you know?
Right.
But I don't think I will. I really do love what I do. I love that it shows. But it is something that you have to be like aware of. So there are ups and downs in designing, which as much as you love to do it, it does become a job, you know?
I think that's like what's challenging about jewelry or making jewelry, is because I think a lot of people go into it. I had an Etsy shop a while back that
Back
made
in
jewelry.
the day, okay, like
Back in the day.
2015 or something.
Yes.
Early
Early days.
Early Etsy. It was called Root Essence. So I can connect a lot with what you're saying too, because I remember at the time I
She
knew
used to
other
make
people,
she used to make like body chains, and like little,
necklaces and bracelets.
like quartz,
I love
not
that.
quartz, but whatever, mineral bracelets. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember like I was first inspired by other people doing it, and at the time I was like, I don't want to copy people, or you know what I mean? Like you do have that like imposter syndrome thing where you're just like, what will make mine different, or like you know what I mean? And I kind of think it's just us being artists where we're like, we judge it in that sense.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I guess I do view it as like you're just inspired by other people, and like
Yeah.
from that I feel like other people have been inspired from me, and I'm sure people are inspired from your shop. So it's good to just get more creative people out of their box, I guess.
Of course.
But yeah, I remember at the time I loved designing everything, every piece, every thought I had, every idea. I would like draw out the design and like plan and purchase all the different things that I needed to create it. But then I got to a point where it's like I was just stringing beads on a string.
Like
And
she
my
would get
back
orders
hurt.
and then like,
I
the
was
whole
like-
night she's just like,
And then I was like, this isn't fun anymore. Like it took it, you know what I mean? So I think it's a hard thing to balance, especially with making jewelry. And I guess also with Kat, with like creating things through paper and stuff, like different mediums, because it's also very like detail oriented, and there's just so many different things that take a lot of different energies.
Absolutely. No,
So
you
it's
nailed
hard
it on
to
the
balance.
head with imposter syndrome. That is something that I it goes through my head all the time when I'm like I'm just like who am I? You know, like what is Noni Clay? Like you put so much like heart into it, so much love into it. But that like I love RuPaul, and he always says like there's like an inner saboteur in all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that person in the back of your head, and it's you are your worst critic always, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're always saying like, oh, are people even gonna buy this? Like, are people even gonna want to wear this? I love it, you know what I mean? But like what I love might not be what you love. And then it's just like, but you kick that voice out of your head, girl, because at the end of the day, it's you're like, nobody can be like as mean as you are to yourself.
Right.
Yes.
And so like it's one of those things where I'm just like always talking myself out of it so that I can talk myself up,
Yeah. And I think as a small business owner, you have to just keep going and stay positive and like find ways to motivate yourself. But
and you won't be a success the first day,
right.
Not even the
get to
100th day, maybe. But
you gotta keep going.
I also think like sometimes you think maybe, oh, my style isn't unique enough, or this isn't different enough, and maybe let's say you look at your first pair of earrings and you're like, oh, this is cool, but is it like Claudia, And but now I think, now that you have so many, and even when you had Root Essence, Sasha, when you look back and you look at the whole page of the variety, you're like, oh, that is a style. Like that is that is that person.
Right.
So,
it matches the person behind it.
It's like
and then you start to give yourself credit.
You're right.
You're like, then you're just like, this is a collection. This is, like a brand. This is like, it's the dream becomes a reality in that sense.
And it's because you followed what you wanted to do. Like you followed your vision. Yeah.
Can I just say,
which is the toughest part?
Yeah.
Because I have a bunch of people that like will ask me like I want to start my own like small business, and they'll ask me almost like how did you do it? How did you do it? And it's the simple answer is you just have to try.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's it, because I feel like a lot of people will do like, well, they start playing that like excuses game. Like, well, I want to, but I'm I'm so comfortable. Oh no, but like I hate my job. I really want to leave it, but I have to, I have to pay my bills. And that's
I don't have enough time.
I don't have enough time. Like, and then it's all like, but to me, it's like, there are many hours in the day, you know what I mean? And if you really want to do something, you will find the time to do it. Like there's like, if it's either you wake up at 5 a.m. or you go to sleep at 1 a.m., there are hours in the day that you have to sacrifice to do what you want to do.
Right.
Because it's always so easy to be like, well, tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes today in a blink, Right. And if you don't get to today, then you're always waiting for tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes like this kind of like this thing that's like farther. But it's true though. Like I have so many people that are just like, they ask me like, oh, like, how'd you do it? And I'm like, you just have to do it.
Right.
I think one of the things, and it's, I'm telling you right now, it's easier said than done for sure. There were many times where I had to talk to my significant other that was very supportive, but it was a tough conversation to have, because in the in-between time before you start selling and making money, there is, the realm of, we're going from 2 incomes to 1. And I'm spending a lot of time that might not seem like I'm working, because I'm not producing, I'm not selling, but I'm working. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing all those things. I'm building. There's months and months that go before you start your small business. Right. And that just goes from learning your craft. There's a whole other realm of the small business side of it that I'm still learning, Yeah. There's a whole, I was lucky enough to do hospitality for so long that I do have a very strong sense of customer service that I'm lucky enough to know. But if you don't have those things and you're starting off something completely new, it's different, it's something that it's learning blocks. It's learning how to do those things.
It helps a lot when you have some sort of managerial experience in other jobs, when you do have your own small business, because you learn by doing it for other people, and then you can apply it to how to like run your own thing. Because I think organization's super important, and I feel like that's probably number one. Right. Especially because as a small business owner, you're wearing all the hats. So you have to know how to properly organize like all the different components, because otherwise you're just going to drown.
Yeah. Dude, there's a like a TikTok sound clip that I thought was I was like, this is so true, where it's like basically saying like, I'm a diligent, hard ass, strict boss, but I'm a super lazy employee. And because you're like, all small businesses usually start with just one person. Like I do everything. I make, I package, I am my HR department, I model, I take pictures. All of those things are me. Like I don't, there's nobody else on the payroll. You know what I mean? Like I can't, like, there's nobody to relieve me at 5 o'clock.
What
And
is
if you
your favorite hat that you wear, and the hat that you could like? I could literally have someone else do this and not
Oh,
feel
dude,
bad
I
about
would love
it.
somebody that like whoever wants to come and sand my pieces for me, please do. I all the minutia of it, like the designing and the actual like making of is great, but the to make something stand apart and make it look professional, you have to sand, you have to glue the backs of the earrings, you have to like put the little holes in the cards. You have to like it's all these little things that I'm like, oh god, you know what I mean? Like I
I didn't
really
even
wish
think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it like I really wish that I had like an intern that could come because they're free. That would come and like just do all these like little things. The packaging, as much as I love to do it, like during the holidays when I had like so
Hmm.
many, like I was just like, I got to a point where I was just like, oh, you know, like those little things that aren't like the super creative part of it, which it's more of the
Yeah.
hardware part of it, not as fun for me, but you still do it because at the end result you see like the earring in the package and you're like, damn, that looks fire as
That
hell,
was
you know
Yeah.
worth
what I
it.
mean?
It
Yeah.
was so worth
Oh
it.
my, yeah.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
I'm
amazing.
super big, like I'll buy things if like I love cute packaging, like like when I order things off
So
of
does Kat.
Etsy.
I'm like
Oh dude, but it's
obsessed.
true, you get something off like a store and it
No,
just you
it
get
like makes or breaks it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, and
Yeah.
you won't remember it, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like when I mean I design things like I put a postcard in every
Yeah.
single of my packages. I have another one
Sasha's
here.
like obsessed.
I have that one.
Oh my
your
gosh,
Oh
your
I'm
my
package is
excited.
coming,
gosh.
Sasha. I'm
I was
making you
hoping it
I'm
was
making you
coming in
one.
today, and I was like, oh
It hasn't yet because I have not put it together, but it will. But like things like stickers, like all my stickers say
Ah,
Noni on them.
no.
I have like
Wow.
my thank you cards. Hold on, let me see. I have everything in front of me. My
I
like
did
thank you
want to
cards.
ask about the name. Why the name? And then we'll take a break after that. But
Okay,
yes.
for sure. So Noni comes from my last name is for Noni,
I
and
would figure that out when you just went offline right now for like a second
yeah,
in the beginning. I was like, oh, her last name's Noni.
yes. I will say that naming my small business was very hard.
yeah, that's why I
It
wanted to bring it up. I feel like a lot of people
uh
struggle with finding a name, and I think it's
it
so interesting.
was so hard, and it was one of those things where like Noni was actually a nickname that I got from a restaurant that I worked at because it was like
Oh.
very much like coaching, like where they're like, oh, for Noni or like, or hey, Hernandez or like whatever. And then it went from for Noni to Noni, which I thought was super cute. But I never
Yeah.
even, I'm not, my friend Christy, shout out Christy. She's actually like, well, why don't you do Noni? Like, and I would like, and then play around with it, like Noni Design, Noni Studios, and then Noni Clay. And then it just became like Noni Clay Design, and my LLC is actually Noni, so that like eventually I can
You do
branch off and do
other.
different things.
Yeah.
Yes, those are
Yes.
other little things that when you're doing a small business, you have to think of like where do you want to go and the goals and
Yeah.
all of
Yes,
those
which
amazing.
I want to ask that
We have so
also
many
when we come back.
questions.
We have so many.
Yes, hopefully when we go on break, I'll not get lost in
Yes.
the internet fear and we
Yeah.
won't have. Sorry about that.
She just
Awesome.
bailed. She was like, I'm not coming.
Yeah, I was
Bye.
like, where'd she go?
I was in the
All right,
bathroom.
team. We'll be right back after this quick little break. Ah. Hello, world. We are
We're
back.
back.
Welcome back.
Pageant high.
So we're right in the knee deep in this conversation with Noni Clay. And we're just gonna pick up right where we left off. So if you are
Yeah,
a
so you were talking
fander,
about like
let us know.
I think you should probably try to find an intern for that because that would be very annoying.
Yeah, it's just those little things, man. It's like, and it's those things that like in the beginning, like aren't big things. And then they just become like bigger and bigger things. Like I will have a pile, especially if I have a show coming up, the sanding and assembly is what I leave for like the last minute. Like it's one of those things where it's just like, I will make a whole bunch and then it'll just be on my desk and I will just stare at it for like hours. And I'm just like, I really need to
That's the
start
me
sanding
problem.
these pieces. Oh man, it's the worst. The worst.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's like
could
the
see
one
that.
thing that's separating you from being able to just send it out too. You're like,
Yes,
if I
absolutely. And
just-
and you can't skip through it, you know
Right.
what I mean? Because you have to put it all together, you know? But yeah, it's a labor of love.
Speaking of which, so now that you've had to wear many hats, you also had to start your business in the middle of a pandemic.
Panorama.
Did it feel weird because of the pandemic, or did it did not make a difference, or did you actually kind of like it because it was just online anyway?
Yeah, I loved it. It was just one of those things where anything at that time that I could do from home, which I think is what a lot of people were doing at that time, like figuring out what they could do from home. I particularly like that aspect of it. I like that a lot of the things that I can do in terms of like customer service or HR or whatever was through the phone. And Etsy, I use Etsy right now. My goal is to hopefully before the end of the year to transition into a full website. I do Etsy just because and it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. I thought that it was going to give me more of a audience. Like I thought it was because Etsy is already like an established thing that they were going to kind of work for me a little bit in that way where they were going to show people my stuff. But I've come to learn that it's real that most of my revenue, most of my like stuff, it comes from me. Like I promote myself on Instagram and then they go to Etsy. Etsy itself isn't doing that. And I thought they were going to be doing that a little bit more. And now that like, I don't know if a lot of people know, Etsy does take a certain percentage of your revenue. My goal is to transition into a website. So hopefully at the end of the year, but, girl, what was the question?
I feel like that was the answer.
That was kind of right. It was just basically about starting a business in the pandemic. But
I'm a really big Office fan, and there's like I'm like Michael Scott, where he just starts talking,
and you're like, "What was this?"
I'll find the way. You know what I mean? So
maybe I'll remember.
There.
Maybe I'll remember the question in the middle of the answer.
That was my fault.
I do that all the time.
So one of the things that Sasha and I both really like about you, and we kind of want to see if you can go into this a little bit, is that you're super, and you kind of mentioned it, you're super transparent on your media, which I think is really unique because a lot of times on the media, everyone's trying to put their perfect life out there, you know, and even though you do have some great, like, photos, like, you know, I can dig them, but you are also very open about other parts of your life. What were you always like that, or like how do you feel about that? And even on TikTok?
Yeah, so to me it was one of those things that I try to be who I like others to be. So I was always gravitated towards people that were more organic, that were more transparent. You know, perception is reality to some people. So whatever you put out there, people really see. And I think in the world that we're living in right now with social media, everybody paints whatever picture they want, you know? And you start to get this unhealthy envy of, you know, this influencer lifestyle that's all complete bullshit, you know? Like these people are like sacrificing themselves to what they want to be seen as. And that to me, it ain't gonna happen. I am somebody, like I said earlier, I've had my trials and tribulations. I have suffered with anxiety since I was a teenager. It goes into a world of like panic and spiraling. And it just becomes one of those things that I rather be like, I feel like there's so many people that feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of feeling that they can connect with others that feel like that, they just seeing like what all these the things that they're putting forth, which is all unreal.
Right.
So I never want to be seen like that. I always want to be me. And if you like me or if you don't like me, I could give a shit. But I want you to know that this is what you are having, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I lead with kindness always, you know, I don't find it hard to be nice or to be kind. So that to me is also something that's just very innately inside of me. I'm very empathetic. I'm understanding. It's not, I don't think that I have like a mean bone in my body. Not to say I can't be shady and petty. There's that part of me too, but I always try to lead with the other side. So to me, it's just, it's important to give you what I got, and what I got is what I am.
Right.
And that's always going to be what I push forward. So yeah, I mean, I love taking pictures, but I just went through a little bit of like a health thing with my body, just not dealing with stress in the way it was supposed to. Stress is a killer. Being your own boss and being an owner of a small business, you will carry that stress and that weight on your shoulders, and it will manifest itself into things. So I wanted to make sure that people knew, because I feel the more information people have, the more that they can understand what you're going through.
And they feel connected.
And they feel connected. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, oh, dude, the outpouring of love and care that I was getting, I like, it's almost overwhelming. It was one of those things where they're like, because I'm the type of person that I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like I failed myself. I'm like, I had to close my Etsy for a few weeks. And it was one of those things where I was just profusely like apologizing for it. And because I was so earnest and so honest about it, people were like, it's fine. Take care of yourself, you know, like you'll come back better than ever. And that level of understanding was so amazing to me.
And I think that probably helps. Whereas if you didn't do that, you would have still beat yourself up.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
And like no one would have been able to relieve it. And you would have just, and maybe a lot of small business owners do that, where they're afraid of showing too much because of like showing a weakness or being vulnerable or whatever it is. And then they end up just beating themselves up and digging themselves a deeper hole. So I feel like it helps too to just be more transparent, because you're also like building a community, and you're all lifting each other up. I feel like that's kind of the good thing about the whole pandemic thing, is I feel like it's helping like the virtual community get a little stronger.
Yes, absolutely.
So that you can like help each other.
Because it is something that we're all going through. It's not an isolated thing. It's something that we've all had to kind of shift our lifestyles into. And it was a terrible, scary thing. I mean, like right now it still is, but there's things like the vaccine and there's hope, and there's, you know, little signs of things getting back to normal. But it was something that we all went through, you know, like it's going to be something that people in the future are going to talk about. Like the coronavirus was something very real that we all went through, you know, together. And there has to be a level of understanding when it comes to things like that. Like you can't.
I think like with the anxiety component too, I feel like the pandemic itself has added more anxiety to people that already had anxiety. So there's that. Yeah. But I also think a lot of small business owners have anxiety to some degree, because there can also be like a high fufunctioning anxiety where you're just always busy, always doing stuff, which is totally me.
I know, and, like Sasha.
I own it, but I also had like social anxiety from when I was younger, and I feel like the main thing that helped with it was exposure therapy, where like you purposefully find situations where you're having to like face your fears.
Oh yeah.
And teach your body how to deal with it, or teach your mind how to deal with it. So I feel like
when Kat brought up the idea of doing this interview with you guys, I think the first thing I told you, I was just like, it scares me, so let's do it.
Yes.
You know, I was like, I'm absolutely like talking and like rambling, because I'm a rambler. You didn't notice. When she brought up the idea to me, I was just kind of like, oh my God, like talking on then live, and oh my God, like all these little things were like, it completely consumed me. I think I like sank into my chair, and I was just like, let's do it. You know what I mean?
This is you practicing for when you get on Oprah, okay?
Oh yeah, girl, I wish. You get an earring, and you get an earring, and you get an earring. But it is definitely one of those things where you have to do that though. Like you have to you have to put yourselves in situations that scare you only to get above it, you know?
Yeah. I think that's like the benefit of being a small business owner is you challenge yourself all the time because you have to fit so many hats and do so many things. And I remember I would do like events or, you know, more social things that I wasn't used to doing or was like scared of doing. But every time you just get more comfortable with it. Like you have to go through it. And then I think as the more you do it, the more like perfect you can like become. And I don't know.
Of course. That happened to me a lot when I started showing at markets and at fairs, because there is a comfort in doing it from your home.
Yeah.
I also feel that I'm a little bit more well-spoken via like text or via email or via messaging. When you're put in a situation where you're selling your stuff in front of a person, that is a completely different reality.
Because they're like evaluating you. They're just
and you can see expression. You know what I mean? Like you can see if you've lost them. You can see if they're like just waiting for you to stop talking.
Or and you're like, kind of like, should I tell them more about the process, or is it the price? Is it the price they're looking at? Is it the color scheme?
Right? Am I going too far into this? Like, do they not care?
And you can't forget that I also come from a hospitality background where I had to sell specials, so my brain kind of works like that. Where I'm like, so this dish was made from this type of cut that came, so I can go into detail like
which
crazy.
is good, yeah.
But some people don't care.
They're just like, oh, it's cute.
Yeah,
I just want these cute earrings. Like,
they're like, I was just thinking of an outfit I had at home.
Yeah, that's it. And so when you're like faced with them in front of you, it just becomes like a whole different thing, you know? And it also becomes like I have like a whole different like sympathy for people that work at like kiosks at malls, where they're like, hey, can I talk to you real quick about this? Or like, oh, and you just walk right through them. They're just doing their job, man. Like they're just trying to sell the product.
That was me.
I know. Oh,
Kat, are we still
sorry,
camera.
Give me a second.
Her camera's having
having a party today.
Issues.
Can you still hear me?
Actually, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, perfect.
So we did want to ask you, and we've kind of asked a lot of things, but what, as an entrepreneur, do you think is your like key to success, or like the main thing that has made you successful thus far, or maybe in the future too? If it's like a quality you have or a certain mindset or whatever it might be.
I think the mindset for me, most importantly, every single day, I ask the same question. What did I do for Noni Clay Design today? Like, what did I do in terms of pushing forward the business? How many social media platforms did I post on? Did I check inventory to see if I have to buy something? Did I read all of my messages, my emails? Did I reach back to people? Every day I try to do something that's going to benefit Noni Clay Design. And it's a conscious effort, because it's not just making earrings and selling them. There are so many little things that go in everything. And it's like, did I learn a new technique today? Did I reach out to this market so that I can sell my stuff there? It's everything, you know?
Right.
You are your own boss and you are your only employee. So it's one of those things where did I work today? Basically, like, did I
fuel it? Did I add something into the dream?
Yes. And that's something that you have to like just consciously do every single day, because it could fall apart pretty easily. You know what I mean? Consistency is key, I think, with everything. And that goes with like working out, that goes with diet. Like you have to be consistent with everything. And it's one of those things where it's like, you can, since you're your own boss, you can take as much time off as you like, but people will forget about you. You know what I mean? It's one of those things one of the things that I don't love to do so much, but it is a belly of the beast, is social media, is doing the TikToks, is doing the Instagram, is talking to people and trying to do all these things. I find ways to enjoy it so that it doesn't become something
to make it for you. Right.
Exactly. But you have to like, it's consistency. You have to have something, you have to take pictures, you have to post, you have to be just, you have to be present.
Yeah. I guess a good way to view it too is like, in terms of being present, like normally when you have a job, you show up at an office and you're present to all of the people you work with. So it's like you all know you're there and you're working. But when you work from home or you're not with a team, like who really knows you're working? Just
exactly.
you, right? So I think if you share it, then it's like everyone now knows you're always
Yes.
working on it. So I think that's another plus.
And they become a part of it.
Yes, and now they're included. Yeah, I think too with the whole thing you were saying, where it's like every day you put something into it. I think when I first started Botana Bites, the main reason I decided to make it into a business was because I thought about it like every day for like a month. And normally I'll have ideas, but they'll come and go. And this one like stayed. And then once I actually launched it, it's like from that point on, like every day, naturally, you either you thought about it or you worked on it or you did something. And I think it's like having a baby. Like you gotta just every day.
Yeah.
Every day, man. Every day. Because that baby is taking things from you. It's learning from you.
Yeah.
It's you have to make the effort to be, like I said in the beginning, the best version of you, the best like that you can put your foot forward and do what you want to do so that the business grows as big as you want it to, you know?
Right.
And I think that's very important to have goals and to set them and to have like, always have what you want to do there so that you have something to walk towards.
Right. And I think
So
that's kind of okay, go. Sorry.
No, go.
It was just a little bit about, because I feel like that's kind of why we started the podcast in general, or even the community part, was because even what you were saying earlier, like people just are afraid to take the first step. And whether it's the first step in starting your business or even like the first step in doing your first podcast, like I just feel like we wanted to just kind of have a community so that it's okay to like move forward, and then it's okay to think about your business every day and like to learn the different aspects of it. So you literally are like the role model.
No, but thank you. But I think what you guys are doing is super important too, because you guys are building a community that people can go to kind of get that advice and to kind of get that sense of support that they might not be getting, like just from other things. I love my partner. He is super supportive, but he is doing his own thing and he is working and he's not here to constantly be my shoulder to cry on,
Right.
But when you build a community of people that might not be doing the same thing in like the specificness of it, but are trying to build something for themselves, it's a wonderful thing to have like a podcast or a Facebook group or like anything like that you can kind of just talk and communicate and share and learn. You know, at the end of the day, it's just about building other people and there's room for all of us.
Well, I also think like even though we're all doing different things, there are specific even apps, for example, like that I feel like are just made for us three, like Canva.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
I love Canva.
How did my life exist before Canva as a small business owner?
I don't know, man. Canva is a wonderful thing. The other thing that I love and like I'll plug it, maybe they'll see this and sponsor me, Zazzle. I don't know if you guys know what Zazzle is. So Zazzle is where I make all my cards, where I make all those things. And what's great about Zazzle is they always have some kind of sale. They understand that the people that are getting their stuff from there are small businesses. So they're not trying to, like rape you in fees, what I mean? And try to like take away from you. But the other wonderful thing about it is that it's a community of small businesses that are doing it for you. So it's not like this big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's different shops that make cards for you and that they work with you. So not only are you a small business, but you are getting a small business to help you run your small business.
Right.
Brilliant. Zazzle, please check it out.
Oh
They're
my
awesome.
gosh.
I'm going to.
Dude.
Yeah, it's great. I get like all the little things that I showed you, like all the cards, like all the like the thank you cards and like all the things. That's all Zazzle.
And just
And
like
you're
that,
like-
I feel like we have coworkers again.
I
know.
It's
Zazzle.
wonderful. Zazzle.
Yeah, that's another reason Kat and I started this too, is like there's so much that goes into being a small business owner on like the behind the scenes.
Right.
And people just see the
No
product.
idea.
Like they just see the product and it looks super cute and like that's it. They don't see the hours and all the like emotional ups and downs and just everything. I mean, there's just so many things. So
yeah, and the trial and error and the money that you're putting,
the money,
Right.
that's all. I'm like, there's no backing, I'm like, I'm still in the smaller stages of trying to build things like that. There's no investors that are coming and helping me out. Like everything that I put forward, from buying the clay to buying the jump rings, to buying the posts, to buying the cards, to buying the packaging. That's all money that's coming from me.
Right.
And at the end of the day, those are things that you need to also realize in kind of just putting that all together, how much you're spending and how much revenue you're making. Like
Yeah.
I haven't done my taxes yet because I'm like
You're like, I don't want
No,
to look into
do
that.
it. You get a lot back this year because you're a small business.
yeah, so it's like the PPE or whatever. I think I started a little bit too late for that. I don't know. We have until May. So but it's one of those things where it's just like it's the reality of the technicality part of owning a small business.
And we
that
have
people
to do it all.
yeah, because like in the beginning, yeah, it's all rainbows and strawberries and avocados, but it's also the business side of it. You know, it's that's a whole other thing that like I'm still learning. You know,
Right, which I'm a big fan of. Like, I like communities or just knowing other people that are doing it too, because I don't mind spending a ton of time researching types of paper and stuff that will go in my kit. But that is, even though I want to be good at the business side, that doesn't mean I want to spend a ton of time on it, because I just want to give me my main sites. Like, I'll go to Canva, I'll go to Zazzle, and these are my wholesalers, and that's it. Like, I don't want to spend a ton of time just like researching that for hours. Yeah. So I appreciate your recommendations.
yes. It's like I'm all about like also building other like small businesses, because they really are putting so much more care into their things than if you're buying it via Amazon. Like to Amazon, you are a number of many, you know, but to Zazzle or to a small business, or you buy something from Noni Clay, to me, that is like special, you know, like I focus in on, and I'm so grateful that I want to make sure that everything that I give you is beautiful, you know, and that goes from the packaging to like everything, you know, because there's the thing with earrings too, is that you're putting a lot of effort into making sure that people can wear them, and people have different needs. I went from I think the first few that I bought, I was just buying just like very generic, like posts for the earrings, the parts that go inside your ears. People have sensitive ears though. So then you start looking into getting like stainless steel, hypoallergenic, you're getting gold filled, you're getting
it's
titanium.
more expensive.
It's more expensive. And all those little things are more, you got it, girl. They are more expensive, and it's more things that you're putting into it. But I want to be able to do that for you. You know what I mean? And do it at an affordable cost too. Like I don't ever
you're gonna have a bunch of gold studs, and then you can't do anything.
And then like, I mean, that'd be great. I'd be making more like money in that realm, but then I also don't want it to be something that's unaffordable, you know? Because that's not what I like. When I'm like, I call myself a Betty on a budget. I live and breathe it, you know, like whatever. I'm like the type that's like free shipping. Yes. Yeah. That to me, like wins me. Like if something is $30, but it's $5 shipping, I'm like, no, but if it's like 35 free shipping, I'm like, you know, it's just how my brain works. So I never want to make something that's unattainable, you know what I mean? Or like something that like, because especially now, like we got hit hard, and a lot of people weren't working for a long time, so they don't have as much money to spend on things like that. So when somebody puts like buys a pair of my earrings, like, thank you so much for spending the money that you might not have to give right now to another small business. Like to me, I'm like,
and so that's like meals like for the whole day, you know? Like,
man. And it's like you won't get that from like, as much as I love Target or Amazon, they really don't need the help.
I know.
They really don't.
So what's next for you? What's the next step after you open your shop again and release your
so
collection?
this Friday, I am launching the new collection, the April showers. By the end of the year, I'm hoping to have my own website. And right now I'm really researching wholesalers so that I can have my stuff at like other stores, other small businesses, things like that. I'm also venturing out, like I said, Noni, I want it to be like the tip of the iceberg, and just make like a lot of different things. I ventured off into making like these little tassel, these are like little rings, these
Sasha.
are bag clips, keychains. I'm making like my tote bags. So just all those little things, like to me, like earrings, it's always going to be the focus, and it's always going to be the membrane of it all. But I want to do more. Like I want to have like you know, my hand in a bunch of cookie jars. I love cookies, so Why not have a bunch? Have a
Yes.
That's
buffet.
A
awesome.
buffet of cookies.
A buffet of cookies.
Of
All
clay
the
cookies.
cookies. Yes, clay cookies. That's a great earring idea, man.
That is.
That is. We'll do a little like collab.
It could be
I'll
like
do
Yes.
it.
cookies and milk.
Yes, I'll do a little Sasha and the cat collab
Oh my
earrings.
gosh. That's so cute.
Possibilities are endless.
Yeah, we are huge supporters and I think even bigger now.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I know that I talk a lot, so
No, thank you
No.
so much for joining us. We were so excited leading up to this too. We were just like, oh my God, we can't wait. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are amazing too. I'm a big fan. Kat, like Sasha, I'm just learning your whole style. You have a beautiful aura. I can already tell your energy is on par with mine. And Kat has been cracking me up since the second I met her. So I am big supporters of you guys, and thank you so much for having me here
Yes.
and just letting me talk your ear off. I've really enjoyed it.
Yes.
So I know right now the shop is on hold, but when can
Until
people
Friday.
go to the
Friday,
shop?
Friday,
Okay, so
Friday.
Come
This
on,
Friday, yes.
Friday.
Mark the calendars. Friday.
Fridays. Yes, Friday,
Yes.
Friday. Like, and I'm one of those. I'll say Friday at noon, but if you go like Friday at 9, it's already up. Like I am so un-Miamian. Like I was born premature, and I really think that that's set up my entire life. I am early for absolutely everything.
Oh my gosh,
It sucks.
really? Living in
Dude,
Miami?
Dude, it sucks because I am always waiting. And I'm always like, I'm the type that if you tell me to be ready, like I had my hair and makeup done at like 7 o'clock this morning. I was like, let's go. I was drinking and breathing it. Had a cup of
That is
ambition.
so funny. Wait, can I ask a side question, a Sasha question?
Yeah.
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 What is your sign?
Taurus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What did you think?
I wasn't sure, but I didn't know if that could connect to it. But
See.
Taurus, my birthday's
you
next
seem
month.
very fiery though, so I'm wondering if your moon sign is maybe like.
I'll give you all that information and please figure it out for me because I have no idea.
I totally
how to figure
will.
that out.
Please let me know.
I
Anyone
will.
watching, send it my
Yes.
way.
I know that you have to know like the time I was born
Yeah.
and all those things. I'll send them all to you girl,
She's
because
very
I was
into.
Very into it.
if you follow, so I have Noni Clay Design is my Instagram, but my personal Instagram is Claudia Mortgage, which I don't do mortgages at all. I'm gonna plug there's a story to that, so I'm gonna plug my fiance is a mortgage broker.
Oh, okay.
When we got engaged, so his Instagram is Giancarlo Mortgage, and when we got engaged, somebody was like to me, they were like, congratulations Claudia Mortgage, and I thought it was hilarious. I'm stupid. I thought it was hilarious. And I was just like, and now people think that I do mortgages, which is great, but I don't. But if you do need one, I know a guy.
You
know
know
what I
a
mean?
guy.
So then it becomes like a support, you know.
That's
what I mean?
hilarious.
That
God.
is awesome.
But if you go over to Claudia Mortgage is my other Instagram.
Okay,
I'm putting Taurus stuff all the time. Like
Oh, wow.
I read my horoscope every single day. I'm like super about it. It's like eerily very always on par with what I have going on. So
Yes.
I am a true and thorough believer in all that for sure.
That is
That's
so funny.
awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah,
everyone go follow Noni Clay Design on IG. Go check her out on Etsy. And even feel free if you guys are watching this later after the live and have any questions, just shoot them in the chat or go find us on Instagram and we'll answer them for you.
Do it.
But yay, we will be back next week.
Yes.
And,
Thank you all who watched or who will watch.
Yes, and we will be doing monthly business features. So we are so excited that we had Claudia here today.
Yes.
And if you
we have a form on our links, right? In our
Yes.
Instagram. If you are interested in
Featuring
being
your
featured on our
business.
show, yeah. Just fill that form out and we'll get back to
Do
you.
it. It's fun. Happy whatever you guys want. Again, I will be happy to
Yes.
Now-
kiki with you guys anytime.
Yes, I'm gonna go check out Zazzle.
I know,
Zazzle,
right?
man. Zazzle. It's fun. It's just one of those things where you can just go wild. It's very Canva.
Yes, awesome. Okay, all right, team. We'll catch you next week.